Coming up on today's show.
The underlying theme for why you would keep anything or own anything is because it sparks joy.
I think people too get kind of joyful when they feel organized, right?
Do you love it or do you just want to date it? You know, have a little fun with it.
Right.
Take it out for a couple of times.
The KonMari Method of tidying up. Is it for you? Today on Keeping You Organized. Well, hello and welcome to Keeping You Organized. Today we are going to talk about the KonMari Method of tidying up. It's a book, it's a system, and it's kind of all the rage in some circles, but we've brought our friend Louise Kurzika, everythingtogether.com. Hey, great to see you again.
Good to see you.
And I bet you're hearing about this book, because it's been out, what, a couple years now, or?
Hearing about it?
Yeah.
How about hearing about it?
Yes, okay, yes, I understand. Well, now, of course, we all assume that anyone who's into organizing, you know, or even interested in it has heard about this, but I think
Right, and you know, there's the book.
There's the book right there.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, so it's an interesting book. So we're going to get in the podcast today about what it's about first, for those who maybe haven't heard about it. And then, is it practical? Is it for you? Because, you know, not every system works for every person, right? We have to start with that premise.
I think that's a great place to start,
Okay,
John.
well, good. Let's get started then. So let's do an overview, kind of from your take. What does this method of tidying up really entail?
Sure, the KonMari Method, that's a play on her name, Marie Kondo.
Yeah.
Her method that she, I guess, developed when she began tidying up for her clients in Japan. She's Japanese.
Yep.
Involves very specific steps. And the underlying theme for why you would keep anything or own anything is because it sparks joy.
Okay.
And she sparks joy. It's a very positive, uplifting kind of point of view.
Well, and I think people too get kind of joyful when they feel organized, right? I mean, it is a good premise.
Well, I think you're right. If you were to really look around your life, your home, and if all the things that you see make you smile, make you happy, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a real positive, upbeat kind of way. So it's different language maybe than we're used to.
Well, it seems like there's like a philosophy or a thinking behind the method, and then there's also some actual things you do to
very specific.
Go through. So let's kind of talk more about the process,
steps?
or you know, just what does it take to do this?
Well, the first thing she really is asking people to commit to the process.
Okay.
Commit to doing it. So having intention.
Okay.
And that's, again, a very positive thing, because that means that you're going to be focused and you're going to do what it takes to get things done.
Right.
So committing is an actual step.
Yeah.
And then she begins with the tidying event.
Ooh.
Yes, an event.
Yeah.
And she talks about starting with clothes.
Okay.
Very specifically, there's an order here. You start with clothes, and you bring all the clothes of the home to one location.
Okay.
So she deals with an entire category of an item in one spot.
Right.
And then you touch and feel each and everything and look at it and ask that question: does this spark joy?
Yeah.
If it does, it's an item that is to be kept.
Right.
If not, it's an item to be discarded.
Yeah.
And discarded can be, again, donated, if it has to be, you know, thrown away or recycled, whatever the case might be.
Right. Now, you've been in the organizing business a long time. This is a pretty standard thing that you would do, because don't you tell people to go in their closet, do you wear it or not, right?
Exactly.
Maybe that doesn't spark joy, but is this something you actually use?
So you're right. We ask a lot of questions. One of my favorite questions I'll ask clients are, do you love it or do you just want to date it? You know, have a little fun with it.
Right.
Take it out for a couple of times, then that's it. So that idea of, loving it means it's like sparking joy.
Right.
So you're right. This isn't really new. That process, we maybe are used to using a lot more questions.
Yeah.
Like, when was the last time that you used it?
Yes.
How often do you use it? If you didn't have it, how would you handle whatever you needed to do with that, without that item?
Yeah.
So she's maybe simplifying it, going down to a more distilled point, rather than necessarily asking a lot of different kinds of questions. She's just looking for one answer.
Now, have you done this with any of your clients or gone through this process?
I have not,
Okay.
honestly.
Yep.
And probably because I've been around the block about 5 or
Right.
6 times now with 25 years of
Right.
experience.
Right.
I'm not sure I could do it differently than how I do it.
Yes. But the concept of do you find joy or do you use it or
Right.
whatever angle is really a valid point, right?
It is. It's part of anybody's process.
Right.
That's for sure. The difference here is it's being called something
Yes.
different. Now, there's one thing about this order that can be a little bit challenging, and I don't want us to get too caught up in
Okay.
that because I know we can talk maybe in
Yeah.
the second segment a little bit more about
Yeah.
pros and cons.
Yeah.
But she talks about everything in that category coming.
Okay.
So I think you have to kind of also think about this from a practicality standpoint.
Yes.
So if you're dealing with clothes, and let's say you're a mom who's brought her in, and you've got 2 children and a spouse.
Yeah.
She means all the clothes.
Yeah.
She
Everything.
means your spouse's clothes, the children's clothes. And so if you're making decisions for those people, I have a little problem with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without their input, especially if you're talking about your teenage daughter
Yeah.
versus your 4-year-old son.
Yeah.
You know, that's a little,
Well, I
little
think
bit
with
different.
my
Or for
kid-
your spouse.
Yeah. I think with my kids, we take 2 or 3 days to do this.
And that's where the marathon
Right,
is.
yeah,
That
yeah.
she's very valid in talking about this as being a marathon.
Okay.
So she's trying to let people know
Right.
this may not happen all in one setting. So after you've done clothes, the next thing in that order is books.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so it's bring every book you own to one location.
Yeah.
Every book throughout the home and make those same decisions. Does it spark joy?
Right.
After you've done that, you go to papers.
Okay.
And so on and so forth. And she has several other categories thereafter. But she wants you to build that category, or build your experience of discarding
Yeah.
and understanding what joy is, so that when you get to the end, which is sentimental things, you're better prepared
Okay.
to handle dealing with those kind of items.
Okay. Well, listen, we're going to take a quick break, and when we
Okay.
come back, I want to get a little bit more into the practicality of that
Great.
sorting, and find out what we need to actually do with the stuff, because I'm sure she addresses that. So we're with Louise Kurzicka, everythingstogether.com, talking about, is the KonMari method of tidying up, is it for you? And we'll find out more when we come back. Now there's a place just for you. Life can be busy, and you still have to keep it all together. That's why you like to be organized and in control. Introducing MyOrganized.life, a special place where you can get ideas and solutions to organize what's important to you, your important papers, your important decisions, your important life events. We show you the ideas and products to stay organized in your life. See what's new. Stop by and say hello. Visit us at any time at www.myorganized.life. It's just for you. MyOrganized.life by Smead. Find us at www.myorganized.life. MyOrganized.life. We are back now on Keeping You Organized, talking about the tidying up method, the KonMari method of tidying up. It might be all the rage, but there are disagreements, and we have Louise Kurzicka, everythingstogether.com,
Hi, John.
talking about, we're just kind of going through the process right now,
Right.
and trying to relate it to, is this practical for everybody or not? And on our last point there, we talked about bringing everything in, kind of asking if it brings joy or not, but are we sorting and like putting in bags? What is the practical piece of what we're doing at that
That's
point?
really, really interesting. She doesn't talk a lot about that.
Okay.
As far as the method, I think from a practicality point of view, it's probably fairly similar to what anybody would do. Yeah, you're going to have piles of things here. She is kind of obsessive about counting how many of things are.
Okay.
Like, how many books did you discard?
Yes.
You know, or
Does it have to be an odd number
even,
or an
or
even
even
number?
how many toothbrushes you have. She talks in the book about being very surprised by a client who had, you know, maybe like 75 toothbrushes.
Oh my gosh, I'd be surprised with that too.
Yeah. John, I'm not.
Yes, okay. Yeah, I'm
There's a
sure you've
difference
seen it
between
all.
our worlds.
You've seen it all. That's right.
From there. So one of the things in the process that comes with this is you're discarding first and you're organizing after.
Okay.
So that's obviously very important. You're not running out buying containers.
Yeah.
She's not a big fan of containers. She
Okay.
thinks containers just make you hoard more.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I'm not sure I necessarily buy that.
Yep.
I'm not necessarily a convert in
Ooh.
that case.
Yeah, very good play on words. Right.
But the discarding is very important. That's always the case in regular organizing as well.
Yeah.
We eliminate before we can decide how to organize something, because we have to see what's left.
Right.
So that's a very positive.
Okay.
And going by category by category.
All right.
But at the end of it, it's live your life.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, then what's next? So
yeah. So what is next after we've kind of discarded, right? And we're getting there. We've gone through the different categories. We did some clothes, books. I'm sure there's household items and things like that, right?
Right. So one of the things that I think is important to look at is why this might not work for everybody.
Okay.
Because again, having a specific process may not be the best. That may not be the best way. So let's talk about that order for one thing. When I work with a client, and I think most of my colleagues would agree, we ahead of time do an intake and assessment, and we try to find out, why are you calling now? What's the motivation behind this? And sometimes it's about an event or a transition. Sometimes it's about a particular space. And so unless they have a particular area that they feel they need to start, when we are with them in the space, we'll try to discover what's the low-hanging fruit.
Right.
And so that could be clothes,
Yep.
or it could then be clothes and books, but maybe not. There might be other things that people are ready to let go of, that it would be easier to start and build the confidence there. So that's where her process of having to go in a specific order may not serve everybody.
Yeah. Do you think that has anything to do with maybe the Eastern influence on it, or because kind of like the feng shui, there's certain things that
Yeah, I think very much. I want to point this out. Let's look at this title, John.
Okay.
Read that title for me.
The life-changing magic of tidying up, the Japanese art of decluttering and organizing.
So let's look at that from a cultural and language difference.
Yeah.
The first word in there, magic.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love to have life-changing be magical?
Yeah.
Because when something's magic, what happens? There's no effort, is there?
Right.
It just happens. There's no pain. There's no difficulty.
Yes.
It's so easy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And then let me ask you about the words tidying up. What does that mean to you when you think of tidying up?
Well, tidying up seems like it's a very quick and easy way to it's a quick pickup. It's not like I'm reorganizing my whole life. It doesn't seem overwhelming to me.
Exactly.
Seems like something that anyone can do, right?
Exactly, doesn't it? It's like, oh, we're having some friends over. Quick, tidy up the living room.
Yeah.
Put away the clothes that are hanging out and the kids' games and a couple of things.
Right.
Yeah, and you're done in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. So I think right from the start, we've got a cultural difference here in terms of the language that's being used and the perception people have. Yeah, if I was disorganized and I saw life-changing magic tidying up, wow, I could do that. And so right away I think that there's a little bit of a difference between how they're perceiving it and how we're perceiving it. The other thing that I think is interesting is she does have this idea of wanting to really thank your possessions for the service they bring to you, and not just like once in a while, but every day.
Right.
And I only laugh a little bit because I think gratitude is wonderful to have. But that, I think, is a more cultural difference.
Right.
Now, I will tell you this, that I have worked with many clients, and I often, as you know, specialize with people who have more exceptional challenges with getting organized and decluttering because of depression, anxiety, ADHD, those kinds of things. And so I have often worked with clients who have really struggled to let go of certain things, and we've had a little ceremony. As things are put into a bag for donation, or things that need to go into the trash because it's appropriate for them, we thank them for what they brought to our life. So there's some value there, but again, not everybody's going to really buy into that.
Well, Louise, I want to get more, we're going to come back for another episode because I think we've kind of talked about the why and some of the philosophy, but I want to get more into the actual how you do it. So can you come back on our next episode?
I will, absolutely, because
Good.
we've got to talk about the papers, because
We
there's,
do.
oh my gosh, there's really something going on there.
Okay, and before we go, let everyone know about everythingstogether.com, how they get a hold of you. And
Right, so Louise Kurzika, everythingstogether.com is my website.
Yep.
I'm in the Minneapolis, St. Paul area, but I do also do virtual organizing. So work with people via Skype or FaceTime. And then be able to work with folks all over the country to help them be organized as well. And again, specialize with people who have non-typical challenges. So due to often mental health or neurobiological issues, including hoarding.
Great. All right, folks, well, there you have it. Come back for our next episode, because we're going to get into the nitty-gritties and some of the unique things about the KonMari method of tidying up. And we'll do that next time on Keeping You Organized.